everybody. So in this video, what I'm going to talk about is the difference between a $1 personal injury case versus a $1 million personal injury case. And I'm going to give you an example of both. So let's start with the $1 case. And this was the case where a lady was in a shopping mall and she was going back to her car in an interior garage. And she claims that a defendant who was driving his car hit her. She was holding a shopping cart. She was going to her car to, put the groceries back into her trunk. And at that time, the defendant was pulling out of his spot, which was next to her, and somehow turned and negligently hit her. But, and this is a big but, she did not fall. She did not fall to the ground. And she admits that. That's in the emergency room records. That's in her statement, her deposition. She did not fall from the impact, right? She says that she was pushed up against the wall and she kind of bounced back. And so she claimed back injuries. And we tried to settle the case and we couldn't really settle the case. They did not want to pay. So we had to take the case to trial. And since it had a limited policy of only $100,000, what we had to do is we had to agree to a summary jury trial, which I have a video about that you could watch. And a summary jury trial just basically means that the entire trial is done in one day. You pick a jury, you do opening statements, you put on witnesses, including your client. You don't need to call doctors. Instead, what you can do is just read medical records. Medical records go into evidence and you can just read them and show them to the jury, put up slides. And so what happened in this case, the reason it only went for, well, actually it was a defense verdict, right? They got 0, but we were able to recover some compensation for her, and I'll explain to you how. But the reason was everything was actually going well, and the jurors, because we talked to the jurors after the trial, they were actually with us. They wanted to allow for some compensation for her, despite the fact that she didn't fall, despite the fact that all of this was happening. But the problem with the case was that our client lied in many, many preparations before we had asked her, well, did you have any other incidents after? And she said, no, I never had anything else, right? All my injuries are from this. But when the defense lawyer started questioning her, the defense lawyer got something known as an ISO, an insurance claim form, which a lot of the insurance companies have access to. It's really easy to get. They just submit your name and your social security number or some identifying information, and they could search across the database and see all the claims, right? If you have any treatment after an accident, the insurance companies can get that. And so they got it, and they saw that this particular individual had like 2 or 3 subsequent car accidents, and she had all different lawyers for each one, and they were all going on. And she had testified that she did not have any. So now it was a credibility issue, right? Why was she lying? Why was she hiding information? And it was also hard to recover future pain and suffering compensation because, let's say she had this accident in 2017, she got hurt, but then in 2018, she has another accident, and now she has another lawyer for that. In 2019, she has another accident, she has a lawyer for that. Now all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute, are these injuries into your future, are they caused by this original accident where you didn't even fall, or are they caused by these subsequent accidents that you didn't even tell us about? And so the jury rendered a defense verdict and she got nothing. But because she had good lawyers, what we were able to do was we were able to negotiate a high-low. And what that means is that when we go into the trial, we knew it was only a $100,000 insurance policy, so we negotiated a low. And a low means that no matter what happens, we get the low, the amount. And in this case, it was $25,000. And then the high, I believe, was like $85,000. So even if we would have gotten like $1 million verdict, we knew it was only $100,000 and there was no excess, there was no umbrella or supplemental or any other insurance we could go after. And this particular individual didn't have any assets. So the most we could have gotten was 100, right? And so we agreed that the high was 85. But because we got 0, we still got the $25,000 for her. So she still got some compensation. So that's the example of the $1 case. Now let me tell you an example of a $1 million case. And it's similar. A woman was walking on the street. She was crossing the street in the crosswalk, and a car hits her. and she falls down, and this car is going very fast. The car was very negligent, actually got cited by the Oath, which they have in New York City, OATH, an Oath Tribunal, for not seeing a pedestrian in a crosswalk, for being almost like reckless and unsafe. And so liability was not an issue. And this woman fell and she hit her head. And unfortunately, she had what's known as a subdural hematoma, which is a brain bleed. And she really did have serious cognitive issues. She had to be hospitalized for weeks, and then she could never return to her work again. She was a little bit older, in her 60s, and she was taking care of grandkids, and now she couldn't even take care of the grandkids anymore because she would forget things, like forget that the stove was on. And so we knew that they had a $1 million policy. They didn't have any excess or umbrella beyond that. And we asked them to tender, which means to give us the entire $1 million. And they said, no way. Maybe this brain injury will go away. How do we know it's really permanent? And so we said, fine, we will give you 30 days, pay us the $1 million. If you don't, then we'll prep the case for trial and we'll go to trial. But at trial, we're not going to ask for the $1 million anymore. No, don't think you're going to get that lucky. We're going to ask for $10 million because she has a serious life-changing injury, and the fact that we have to call all these doctors and prepare this case and do all this work. So this is your one shot, insurance company. This is your one opportunity to be fair and to negotiate in good faith. And so it's up to you. Ball's in your court. You could do it, or we could go to trial and we'll try to hit you for 10 million or maybe more. So they thought about it. They got scared. They changed lawyers. They had the in-house counsel for the insurance company. They hired another law firm that is a more prestigious, one of these white shoe defense firms. But then ultimately, a few weeks later, they caved and they said, look, we'll pay you the $1 million. So we got the entire $1 million for her because she did have a brain injury, a serious injury. And so that's an example of different types of cases, right? Cases that can go for $1 or zero, and cases that can go for $1 million or even more. I would say in this case, the only reason it went for $1 million was because there was not more insurance available. If there was more insurance available, that case should be worth even more. Okay, let us know what you think. Do you have a case that you'd like a consultation on? Feel free to text us, 347-566-9595. I'm happy to chat with you. Just please give us a little bit of background, the facts, 1 or 2 sentences, the injury information, just 1 or 2 sentences, and then your name and your city. And, if we can help you here in New York, we're happy to help. If we cannot, because you're somewhere else, well, we work with an entire network of attorneys who are just excellent, like some of the creme de la creme, the top trial lawyers all across the country. We have lawyers in California, Texas, Florida, even like small areas like, Wisconsin or like South Dakota. We've had cases all over Iowa, Idaho, all over. I think we even had some in Washington State or up in Alaska. So just give us a call and, text me. You could also fill out a form in our description, and that'll give us the same information. I'm happy to jump on a call and do a consultation, and we are here for you. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.